So we write it down 50,000 here and 50,000 here. So you see, we also mark it here. So since this is the date or maybe the number, so you write it down in the ledger or in the T account, the number again. So if we are not given all these information, we are just given the T account. So 50,000 against 1, it means it is going to be against 1 entry. So you can just realize, go back to the transaction 1. So transaction number 1, you will see that it is received 50,000 cash and issued common stock. So this is just how you write it down. So everything is reference based. So this one is basically reference. Now the second transaction, paid 40,000 cash for land. So every entry must satisfy the accounting equation, must satisfy the journal total, and must be posted according to their respective T account. So when you pay cash, cash decrease 40,000 and land increase 40,000. Equation is balanced, right? See, equation is balanced here. No need to write down on the right hand side. But analyze the transaction, paid cash, cash account, decrease or increase? Pay cash, it means cash account is decrease. And land increase or decrease? So you see, this is the land increase, this is the cash decrease. So land increase. So land is our asset, asset increase, debit. Cash is our asset, asset decrease, credit. So how we are going to write it down? First, write it down the debit. So you write it down the word land first. And then space cash. So you see 40,000 here, 40K. So this debit side and credit sides are equal. So how we pronounce it? Land to cash, right? So let's see the answer here. Let me clear all the mess. Here we go. Land to cash. So since we already have established the cash T account, so we are just going to post it against the number 2 transaction. So number 2 transaction, cash is going to be credited. So you see, cash is going to be credited here. Number 2 transaction in cash. So we don't have the land T account, so we make a land T account, and land is debited, so we write it down on the debit side, right? So this accounting equation is just for your reference. It's not required, okay? In practical, we do not first make the accounting equation and then we write journal entry and ledger. So in double entry system, which is followed by the companies, which is the real accounting system, we just start from journal entry. So this is just for your concept, okay? Here we go. The third one. I hope up till now you already understand it. So let's just make the journal entry and let's just participate. So anyone who can analyze this transaction? Purchase supplies for 3,700 on account. On account means you didn't pay cash, you will pay later, which means on credit. So which 2 accounts are going to hit? Anyone who can participate?
Accounts receivable and supplies.
Account receivable. Account receivable are our assets.
Accounts payable.
Yes, well done. Accounts payable are our suppliers. So we purchase goods, we purchase supplies from our supplier and we will pay them later. So accounts payable is our liability or asset?
Liabilities.
Liability, so this is increase or decrease? First, you make a sign whether they're okay. First, point out the 2 accounts. We pointed out the 2 accounts, supplies and accounts payable. And now, second step is find out whether increase or decrease. So supplies increase or decrease?
Supplies increase.
Well done. Accounts payable?
Accounts payable might be decreased.
How? You didn't pay them cash. The liability increased, right? You purchase on account, you purchase on credit,
Okay, so it means increase.
right? So if you post it in the accounting equation, it looks like this, right? Now, can you make the entry here? Supplies your assets, asset increase, asset increase,
Asset increase,
debit,
debit,
liability increase,
credit.
credit, right? So how you are going to write down the entry? Write down here the entry. First, you write down the debit. So which one comes first?
Supplies.
And
Wait,
how you pronounce the entry? Supplies.
I don't really understand the question.
So we are transferring now this transaction into journal. There are three-step process. Number one, you identify the account. So we identify the accounts here. Let me change the color so that it's be more meaningful. So we basically identify the accounts. Second step is you write it down the increase or decrease. So in the second step, we find out increase. So accounts payable belongs to the liability side. So it means increase means credit.
Credit.
Supply belongs to asset side. Asset increase being debit. Now the third step is we make the entry. So what are the rules to make the entry? First, you write down the debit and then you write it down the credit. You pronounce it from debit to credit. So you tell me, we are transferring this transaction into journal entry. How we are going to write it here?
We write it purchase supplies.
Only account name, not purchase supplies. Account name is supplies,
Nice.
right? So we write it down. How we pronounce it? Supply to accounts payable. Understand? So first we write it down supply here. Supplies to accounts. Sorry about my writing. It's a little bit crazy here. 3700, 3700. So let's just clear the mess here and see. Supplies to accounts payable. Right, everyone?
I thought you were asking the first one, so that then I said supplies, and then I was going to say accounts payables number goes below.
Yeah. So whenever we are making the accounting, the journal entry, we do not consider this. This is just for your understanding that, okay, the equation is balanced. Here, the entry is also balanced, right? So this step is not required. Accounting equation step is not required. This is just the comparison of accounting equation system and double entry system, right? So how we are going to pronounce it? Harry, pronounce this transaction, journal entry, pronounce it.
What do you mean pronounce it?
How you say the journal entry.
I don't understand, sorry.
You say supplies to accounts payable,
Oh, okay.
right? When I say supplies to accounts payable, it automatically means that supply is debit, accounts payable is credit, right? And Marilyn, understand?
Yes, sir.
Can you pronounce the entry or can you say the entry?
Supply to account payable.
Well done. Well done. Anthony,
Yes.
understand? Can you pronounce it?
Supplies to account payable.
Well done. Ella, now you understand that? Harry, you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever I say supplies to accounts payable, so the word to, whenever we say supplies to account receivable, it means before the word to here, that account should be debited, right? So you cannot write this transaction like although the technical, the logical stuff is right, but you cannot write this transaction as here accounts payable, which is credit. So you write it down on the credit side, which is 37. And we also write it down here, supplies. So you write it down debit here and credit here. Although this is illogical, since you write it down on a correct side, accounts payable is credited, supplies are debited. But this is wrong, and there is a logic, no logic behind that. Why? Because this is a world convention. This is a common understanding. In making journal entry, we start from debit and then to credit, right? So this entry would be wrong. We have to write it down like this: supplies to accounts payable. So that's what I was trying to say, because many students, they make the wrong arrangement, but the entry is good, but they make a wrong arrangement, and then they were confused. Supplies was debited and we just debited it. No, you have to write it first, right? Supplies to accounts payable, and then when we post it, so you see, you have to post it like that. So supplies is debited, so you write it down on the debit side. Accounts payable credited, you have to write it down on the credit side. And now let's move on to fourth. Performed services for clients and received 7,000 cash. Now you tell me which two accounts are going to hit by this transaction. By the way, we already did this transaction in our previous lecture through accounting equation. So we do not have to worry about that. All we need to do right now, what we are doing right now, we are solving the same question through double entry system. So do not pay attention here. If you are confusing with this accounting equation, then do not pay attention here. Pay attention to this double entry system. Journal entry and posting to ledger accounts. So can you solve this? Can you analyze this transaction? Perform services for clients and receive cash 7,000. So which two accounts? So number one step, which two accounts?
Assets and revenue.
Asset and revenue? Account. Asset is a broader account. We need to write down we need to narrow it down.
Oh, cash.
Well done, Pinyo, well done. So, which two accounts? Number one, cash, and receive cash according to service performed, which means revenue. Number two, mark increase or decrease. So cash is increase or decrease? Business is receiving